1. We will discuss the will and the reason, but first we're going to watch the motivational video of Apollo story of Steve Harvey. Ay,
Di madunggan.
Wala siya sounds, ma'am.
ay wait lang nga, sir. Ay, naka-off di akong mic. Sorry, wait lang. Thank you for...
Spoke to me. He said, get up. I'm gonna take you places you ain't never been. Relax.
Hindi ko. Layo-layo sa taas. Ay, ayaw pag-anog mo. Ayaw pag-anog mic. Kasi gawanog mic. Paliho. Thank you.
At 35 hours. I said, come on, God, man, I've been trying to make you believe because you'll never be out like that. And I was crying so hard that he just said, I didn't like hear a voice or nothing. But he spoke to me, and he said, get up, I'm going to take you places you ain't never been. And I was finna quit. So I said, I'm going to quit anyway. So I got my car, I went to a payphone, and I was going to call my dad. Remember back in the day when you punch in a code, they call your answering machine, and get your messages? So I called, and I punched in the code, and it said, beep. He said, hey, Steve, this is Chuck Sutton with Showtime in Apollo. We saw a tape of you. You're very funny. If you get here Sunday night, we'd love to put you on television. Call me back. Let me know if you can make it. So I hung the phone up. I'm crushed. Because my whole dream of being on TV, and I couldn't get to New York. I got 35 hours. How am I going to get to New York? I can't make it. So I'm standing there at the phone booth, and tears just coming down my face. I said, God, so that must be a sign for me to go home. Because this is it. I ain't even got the money to go to the Apollo. My whole thing that wanted to be on TV, I couldn't even make the dream close. This is the most messed up moment. That's why I said, man, let me call this dude back and see if he said this Sunday. Because maybe he said next Sunday, and I can hustle up a little bit of money or something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but let me just call him back. So I called him back. See, this Chuck Sutton Showtime at the Apollo. We saw a tape of yours. You're very, very funny. Look, we have an opening Sunday night at Showtime at the Apollo. If you can make it, we love to put you on. I said, it's this Sunday. Before I hit the button, I heard, boop, you have another message. That wasn't there before. So I punched my code in. I listened to the second message. It said, Steve Harvey, this is Tom Schoen from the company Caravan. This was a Thursday. He said, I have a gig in Jacksonville, Florida on Friday night that pays $150. You can get there Friday night. You'll make $150. So I called him back, and I said, hey, Tom, did you get a gig away? He said, no, it's still available. He said, can you get that? I said, I'm in Pensacola, Florida. I'm 3.5 hours away. So I drive to Jacksonville, Florida, and that night I killed. I made the 150. Club owner said, man, you're funnier than the guy we hired. If you stay tomorrow night, I'm going to give you another $150. So now I got $300 now. So I get on the phone. I call Chuck Sutton. I say, hey, man, is the gig still available at Showtime at the Apollo? He said, well, we got one opening left. I said, I'll be there. So I called Eastern Airlines. It used to be open back then. They had a special for $99 going from Jacksonville, Florida to New York round trip. So I parked my car at the airport. I got it. Hello. Everything I had. Got to the Apollo. I said, hey, man, I'm here. I got there at 11 o'clock in the morning. He said, you can't stay here because you don't come on to the late show tonight. Because I ain't got nowhere to go. I said, if you just let me stay in this building, man, I ain't going to move around nothing. I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm in Harlem. I can't go back out here. I got these 2 bags. I got victim wrote all over me, man. So he said, all right, if you go upstairs, don't come down. So he put me in the dressing room on the 6th floor. So that's where all the comedians were. So I stayed up there. I got hungry around 3 o'clock, but I couldn't take it no more. So I went back downstairs. Dude named Alton Lisbon. I said, hey, man. He said, man, I thought I told you. Come down the damn steps. I said, hey, man, I'm just going. I said, let me go to that KFC I saw in the corner. He said, let me get some chicken. I'll come right back. He said, man, if you ain't back in 20 minutes, you ain't getting in this room. So I went, bought me some chicken, came back. So the comedians started coming in the building. They started coming up on the 6th floor. So I meet this guy named D.L. Hughley. I introduced myself. He introduced himself. I'm sitting there, another guy come in named Dwayne Johnson. And this other dude walked in named Jamie Foxx. And I introduced myself. We don't know each other. Ain't none of us famous. It's 1991, man. They gave everybody light. Our last show of the night. I don't go on to 11 at night. I had this poke to chicken. I'm starving, man. That chicken didn't roll off. I'm nervous, man. I'm about to throw up. D.L. Hughley went downstairs. D.L. Hughley got booed off. Wayne Johnson got booed off. Jamie Foxx went down there and got booed. They booed Jamie, and Jamie started singing. And then they started clapping. And Jamie had their ass. Then he went back to them jokes, and they got his ass. So I'm walking down the steps, and I see Jamie sitting on the steps. I say, hey, man, hang in there. He said, man, that ain't never happened. Oh, man, it's crazy. It's Jamie Foxx, man, one of the most talented people in all of comedy. Now, you don't even know how nervous I am. I can't even. My breathing is shot because these dudes been booed. So I walk out. I wrote this joke. Mike Tyson had got in a fight in Harlem with this heavyweight named Mitch Green. Mike Tyson had hit the dude in the eye in the store. Now, he was on the news. His eye was swollen. So the joke I wrote was, they was interviewing Mitch Green, and he was telling everybody what happened, but his eye took over the interview. And I wrote this joke that his eye started talking, and was just, I'll tell you what happened. The heavyweight champ's fist is coming towards my face. I just said, Lord, Lord, Lord. And I wrote this whole joke about this dude's eyeball talking. And when the punch came, and all this here, the Apollo, man, they went crazy. They lost their mind. I got a standing ovation, man. I walked off stage. Man, just started crying. I couldn't believe it. They paid me $750 for being on TV for one night. I'd never made $750 telling jokes in one night. And so that was my first television appearance. A couple weeks later, Sinbad was the host of the show. He got this job on Different World. And so he quit. And so Mark Curry became the host. And then Mark Curry got hanging with Mr. Cooper, and he quit. And they came to me and said, would you come back to New York and host amateur night for us to just try you out? Oh, ain't no problem. So I went to New York. I hosted amateur night. And I was killing. But every time we went to commercial break, I was supposed to let the warm-up act take over like Ruben did. But I knew not to let the warm-up act do that because it would change the attitude of the crowd. Because the power was, I stayed out there. I did the warm-up and the hosting. And I created a bond with it. And that's how I got on the very first TV show. Host Showtime with Apollo ended up being the longest running host in the history of Showtime for 8 years. Nobody ever did it for 8 years. And that was my turn back moment. See, everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you can go forward or you can give up. The thing you have to keep in mind, you give up, is that if you give up, the guarantee is it will never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it will never happen no way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up no matter what. Because God is always coming. He's never too late. At your worst moment, look, man, when they told me I had to be in New York, I saw no way I could get there. But that God don't. He made the phone ring. I end up in Florida, I make $300. Then I go to New York, I make $750. Almost got $1,000 out of nowhere. That's what happens. That was my moment of never giving up. That's when I first learned that faith is everything. That you have to remain faithful.
So, first of all, I'm going to ask you, what is your goals in life? And what is your plan in achieving them? So may I call on to Mr. Lim for what is your goal in life?
Good morning, sir. Good morning. My goal in life is to become a successful businessman or an entrepreneur because I want to inspire young people to achieving their goals, and also if I become successful, I would like to help the homeless people and stray cats and dogs because I want to give them hope.
So what
I want to give them hope to live and and I and my plan is to achieving them is to hardworking and motivating by myself and confident.
so your goal is you're going to help the mga unsa to?
People and animals.
People. So when you're achieving your plan, unsa man imong buhaton para ma-achieve to nga plan?
First, I want to finish my studies and
Mhm.
to have a small business and earn and be inspired, and that's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lim. So the reason why I asked this because syempre in achieving our plans and achieving our goals, we should have will. So we should have will. So what is will? Will is the faculty of mind that select at the moment of decision, a desire among various desire present. It itself does not refer to any particular desire, but rather to a mechanism responsible for choosing among one's desire. So, ang will daw is a desire among various desire, meaning to say, mauni siya ang padagan sa atua or it keeps us going, meaning to say, ang will enable us to act deliberately according sa ato ang plano in achieving our goals. Will works with the reason. So what is reason? Reason is a statement of fact that explains something in the way it is. Why someone does, thinks, or says something, or say someone behaves a certain way. The power, according to Merriam-Webster, it is the power of mind to think and understand in a logical way. So, kalakip sa atong responsibility is when it comes to our feelings is the reason behind it. So, mao ni ang atong batayan sa ato ang way of action or batayan why we choose this kind of decision. So, reason is driving force that enables the person to do something. So, example sa ato ang reason is also a principle of human action, and it is basically the idea of our mind on what we are going to do or what we are going to achieve. So example, nganong gatuon ka as a student para maka-graduate, right? Para makakuha og diploma and then makatabang ka sa imong pamilya. So this is the goal, the vision that which we aim to achieve. Si will or the voluntary is a requisite of an action to be considered human. It is simply an intrinsic principle moving agent towards the end or towards the reason of his or her action. So gusto man ka makagraduate, and that is the reason. As a student, daghan ta mga difficulties nga ma-face like sa financial or malisuran bata sa ato ang studies or kanang dagan ta mga difficulties nga ma-encounter ana when it comes to achieving our goal. So natay murag somewhat ga-push ato para ay nga murag ga-push ato through to keep going despite sa ato ang gakaagian sa ato ang pag-eskwela. So sa mga ginaagian nato, and that will wala wait lang. And that will kumbaga ang imong pagka-determine nga malampasan to tanan para makagraduate ka at the end, and that's pertain to the will. So sa video ka ganiha makita na to si Steve Harvey right na wala jud siya kwarta. Then sa iyang pagpaningkamot, iyang reason is makakwarta siya o makabot niya iyang dream na makita siya on television. So what unsa yang gibuhat, nagtrabaho siya para makapalit siya og plane ticket, then niadto siya sa Apollo. So pag adto niya sa Apollo, dagan pa kay siya ay napud siya mga na-encounters na difficulties, pero murag nagi po'y nag-push siya iya para murag i-boost niya iyang confidence para ma-discover iya ang talent as a kanang stage nga speaker kibali. So let me show you another video.
What's going on here? Where's my dad, son? The officer went on to explain that two burglars have attempted to break into their home, and David's father happened to be awake. As a result of him trying to defend himself against the burglars, one of the burglars decided to take his father's life. David was in complete disbelief. The policeman's words didn't seem real. They themselves didn't seem real. This was literally a nightmare. In a matter of hours, David had now become the man of the house, and he had no family to turn to. He had very little money, and he now had to figure out a way to take care of himself and his little sister. Otherwise, they would be homeless and hungry. David was forced to drop out of school, and he immediately took on a full-time job at the local mechanic shop, where he had been working part-time. He would be there all day and just clean the dirty car parts and sweep the dirty floors. After work, he would come home, buy his little sister some cheap food, and then help her with her homework. He then cleaned the house, paid the bills. He was doing everything that a normal parent would do. But after a few months, David started to run out of money, and he could barely afford to buy food. David tried getting a second job, but nobody really wanted to hire some kid who looked poor, who had little to no skills, and had no high school education. Things were beginning to get really dark for David. He loved his sister very much. He just wanted her to have the best life possible. But right now, he felt lost and low. One day at the mechanic shop, David went up to his boss and asked if there was something that he could do to earn more money. And his boss said, "Well, I cannot pay you any more for your current job, but one of our mechanics just quit, and I'm looking for a replacement. So if you know how to repair cars, you could maybe do that." His boss said, "Yeah, I have some experience," David said. "Really?" "I was kind of kidding, to be honest. You've been working here for like 3 months, and you were just telling me now that you know how to fix cars?" "Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that you didn't need a mechanic, and I needed a job, so I was just doing my job," David said. Okay. Well, in 3 weeks, I'm putting 3 potential new mechanics through a test to see who can repair the same broken engine the quickest. And I don't see why you couldn't be the 4th mechanic. How does that sound? That sounds great. Thanks. Okay, well, if you need to brush up on your mechanic skills, you can read this book. It's basically the all-knowing guide to engine repair. And just so you know, this new job pays a lot more than your current job now. Later in the night, after his sister was all taken care of, David got out this massive book, and he thought to himself, if I can memorize every single thing in this book, maybe I can win this competition. Getting this job meant keeping himself and his little sister alive, and not getting the job meant being homeless and hungry. The stakes were very high. So for the next 3 weeks, David was glued to this book, and he read every single word 4 to 5 times, and he would close his eyes and pretend that he was putting together the parts that he was reading. about, and he would visualize the problems to look out for and visualize how to solve them. Because he did not have any real car parts to practice on, he started to pay really close attention to the car parts that he would clean at his work. He would focus on the feeling of the metal in between his hands, and he would study every groove and every angle, and he would analyze where all the parts would fit together. Whenever David felt tired or he felt like he couldn't work anymore, he would just look at the hollow cupboards in his house where there was almost no food, and he would feel the cold air crawl up his spine because he could not really afford heating. But more importantly, he would look at his hungry, confused, sad little sister, who still could not really comprehend that both her mother and her father were gone. A hardship like that is not meant for a child. David had no choice. For the next 3 weeks, he barely slept, barely ate, barely drank. All he did was work. Finally, the competition day had come. David walked into the store and he saw the 3 other mechanics who all had their own tools, their own towels, their own cars. They looked very professional. "Hey kid, how are you feeling?" the boss said. "Yeah, I'm okay. If you need to use my tools to fix the engine, I'll leave them here for you." Guys, in front of you there is an engine, but there is a problem with this engine, and all of you have the exact same problem. And the first person to fix the problem and start the engine will be hired for the new job here. Does this make sense? Everybody nodded with confidence, while David's heart trembled. "Okay, I will be in my office. I will come out when I hear an engine start. Start working right now." The 3 other mechanics all started to work right away. David could hear the tools clanking against the cold, hard metal of the engine, and he could hear the grunts of the other men, and he could see the sweat coming down from their face. But David just looked at his engine for a moment, simply studying it. He could still see the sections in his book that talked about the most common problems in an engine, so he just slowly and systematically worked his way down the mental list. In the corner of his eye, he noticed that his boss was staring at him. As he worked on the engine, images of his little sister popped into his head. He could still remember very clearly coming home and seeing the cop cars and seeing the shock and fear on his little sister's face. She was his motivation. After some time, David had fixed a few of the basic problems and even some of the more advanced problems, but for some reason, it still would not start, and he could not really figure out why. As his hand came up to his face to wipe the sweat off his head, he noticed that his hand was really dirty, like really dirty, to the point of it being a little bit strange. He looked at where his hand was laying on the engine, and he noticed that it was on something called the fuel filter. Then instantly, he remembered a headline in his book called "Why a Clogged Fuel Filter Will Ruin Your Car." The filter is clogged. That's it. That's why it's not starting, David thought to himself. He frantically started to clean the filter, going as fast as he could. He could even feel a smile growing on his face while he was doing it, because he knew that once he did this, that the car would start. Every time that his heart would beat, the smile on his face became a little bigger and bigger. He was about to do the impossible. But then he heard it. The other mechanic's engine had started. The boss came out, shook the other mechanic's hand, and said, "Well done. Come into my office and let's have a chat. David, could you please clean everything up here?" In 5 short seconds, David's heart had shattered into pieces. As he started to clean everything up, tears filled his eyes. All the work he put in and all the pain that he went through was all for nothing. What am I going to do now? How am I going to provide for my sister? What about the rent and the heating? What am I going to do for the winter? Thoughts like this were racing through David's head. A few hours later, after the winning mechanic had signed the contract to work there, the boss called David into the office. "So, I looked at your engine. You almost had it, eh? You just didn't clean the fuel filter in time." "Yeah. Being fast is a really important trait as a mechanic. People want their cars fixed quickly." "Yeah, I get that." "You know, when you said you wanted to become the 4th mechanic here, I actually did a little bit of research into you. And I read what happened to you and your family in the newspaper. And I'm very sorry for what happened." David said nothing. "David, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to be really honest with me, okay?" Okay. "Did you lie to me when you said you knew how to fix cars?" David looked down for a moment. No. His boss just stared at him. "Yes, I lied." "Okay, so I'm guessing you lied to me because you really wanted the job because of the extra money in order to take care of yourself and your little sister. Is this true?" "Yes. So your solution was to just say you knew how to fix car, and then legally I gave you my book, and then you studied it, and then you came in here to compete against the real mechanics. Yes. Wow, that is very bold of you, and really impressive that you actually managed to fix a car engine with little to no real experience. You must be a really fast learner. Well, I was pretty familiar with all the car parts. I mean, I clean them all day, every day. And you're modest. That is a really good trait. Sir, with all due respect, why are we talking about this? I lost. I saw the other mechanic sign the contract to work here. What's there to talk about? Yes, you did technically lose, and there's no way I will hire a mechanic with little to no real experience. David looked down, his heart still in pieces. But I'm actually here to offer you something different. David perked up. I want you to be my assistant and work under me for a while. I have never seen someone learn about cars that fast before, so you must have some talent, and you certainly have the motivation to work hard due to your family situation, but you do need some guidance. Okay, what does this mean? Well, I definitely cannot pay you a full mechanic salary, but I will give you a raise to help take care of your home situation right now. Just the basics like food, heating, etc. And once you become an expert and a real mechanic, I'll start to pay you more. But there's one condition. Okay, what is it? You can never lie to me again about anything. The only reason why I'm making an exception for your past lies is because I know you just want to take care of your family. I understand that. So, do we have a deal? Yes, I will never lie again. I'll be the hardest worker. I'll do anything you want me to do. Okay, great. Well, show up every day at 6 a.m. and be ready to work really hard. And from that point on, David became obsessed with cars. Whenever he was not taking care of his sister, he would be reading books about cars. He would talk to other mechanics, go to car conventions. This was the thing that gave him and his little sister a real shot at life. After 6 months, David had become one of the head mechanics at the shop, both forming all these senior mechanics. Then fast forward another 6 months, and he had become one of the most skilled mechanics in the city because he was so desperate and eager to learn more and more that nobody could keep up with him. In 1519, there was a man named Hernan Cortez who set out on a mission to take over an island with 500 of his men. When they got to the island, they faced other people who did not want them to be there. Cortez then ordered his men to burn the boats that they came in on. So there was no option to retreat. The only options were either to live or to die. Oftentimes, when it comes down to life or death situations, people discover an inner drive and new skills that they never knew they had. David was forced into a situation where he had to either sink or swim. He had to figure out a way to either provide for his family or to be homeless and hungry, which is pretty much like life or death. If you are watching this video and you have an inclination to start your own business or to have a certain type of body, you might have to implement this burn the boats concept. Burning the boats for you could be quitting your job and figuring out a way to pay your bills on your own, or maybe it's moving out of your parents' house and then refusing to take financial assistance from your parents or your friends. Maybe it's giving your friend $5,000 and then saying to him, if I don't have a six-pack in 8 months, you can keep the money. Doing this will force you to figure out a way to become successful because failure is no longer an option. This strategy is not for everybody though, and you certainly need to set realistic goals and you need to be careful. But some people need to do this in order to succeed. If you want to get inspired,
So, tanan ta is naay rason nganong ginabuhat nato ni ang mga nganong ginabuhat nato ang mga butang-butang. Like nganong gaeskwela ta, nganong galungag ta. Ma-consider gyapon na para natay makaon. Then nganong gaplano ta o nganong galihok ta sa tanan. So tanan na naay rason nganong ginabuhat na nato tanan. Mo na diya gibutang si reason. Si will mao ni ang kagustuhan, the strongest desire nganuman because gabuhat ta depende sa ato ang kagustuhan. So base sa inyo ang na kita na video, unsa man inyo ang napulot nga will o reason sa video? Insa man ning na-evaluate na.
Oral ba? Oral? Nice.
si Mikadel.
Yes, good morning.
Based sa imong nakita na video, unsa man imong napulot na will and reason?
Based on the video, sa ako napulot nga lesson is katuwid ang iyang will nga kuan ka ng gaiger gid siya nga maka kuan og trabaho aron maka-income aron ma-sustain ang needs sa iyang sister, di lang po siyang sister, silang duha aron nga makakaon sila. So mutong naningkamot siya nga makakuan sa wala siya eskwelahan, wala siya kabalo about sa kanang pagka-mekaniko, naningkamot siya para maka-join ug maka-compete pud sa other mechanic aron nga makasulod sad siya kay nag-will gid siya nga maka-earn og income, makasulod siya sa trabaho. Then mo to yung reason kay para lagi na siya job, na siya may income para ma-sustain ang ilang mga needs. So more.
Okay, thank you. What about si Raida Dolero? Wala siya. Si Rislin Habla.
Hello, good morning everyone. So, para sa ko ang bill niya ato is diba yamang gi-drop out tong kuan skilla niya. So, gi-drop out niya kay para dili ma-experience sayang manghod ang kanang kapobrehon then ang kato yung reason para katong namakak siya sa iyang boss is dili aron ma-provide niya ang needs siya ang manghod.
Pwede mo ito ba member?
Okay, thank you. So, what about tong naglay siya na part? Unsa man ang position ato sa ato ang topic karon? Mrs. Sorry. Miss Hadul?
Yes, pwede pa kayo repeat sa question?
Di ba na part nga naglay siya na nakita na to nakita ba niyo ang video?
Oo, nakita.
Tong part nga naglay siya para makasulod sa trabaho. Unsa man imong maingon ato?
About yung man sa will o reason. So, ato na part, ang will niya is eager lang jud kay siya na makakuha og trabaho para na siya income to provide for her sister o sa iyang self-code. So, even though ay naglay siya, so muna to yung will na para lang jud nga makatrabaho siya. So, namakak siya. So, ang reason niya is kanang bad siya, bad ang maglay, but side man pud to niya tungod na pud sa kalisod. So iyang reason is why gibuhat niya to para lang pud na makatrabaho siya, na siya income og mahatagan niya ang para na siya pampalit sa ilang pangadlaw-adlaw og ma-provide niya ang sister kanara.
Thank you very much, Miss Hadol. So anay gi-mention si Kant na will must be service of duty. We are acting on our own will or on our will on the basis of our duty and not on any impulse or not for any motives at all. Pariha kung mohisgot ta og kanang altruism. Ang altruism is defined as a welfare of the others is never unconditionally good. Kay kung moingon tag altruism, it's never unconditionally good. Kay mao ni ingani ang altruism. It's okay ra ang altruism because kung altruistic ka, you are concerned for the welfare of others. However, nganong ang altruistic is never unconditionally good. Para sa inyo, nganong ang altruistic is never never siya nga never unconditionally good. Miss laki na punta. Wala man yan. Si Mr. Makilang. Mr. Makilang na, si Mr. Makilang.
Ano tayo yung question? Almerol?
Sa akong gimension, ang altruism is na siya'y part na maayo siya. Kay nakatabang man ka ay concern man ka for the welfare of other. Pero nganong naay side nga ang altruistic dili siya maayo.
Okay, good day everyone. So, ang matubaga na, siyempre, hindi na siya maayo. Siyempre, nakapamakak ka, ang bill mo, kaya para nakapamakak ka, para lang maka-earn ka, income. So, ang reason po niyo mo nga, ito, makabuhat ka o makapamakak ka, kay, para kay, ma-provide sa imong panginahanglan nun, financial. So dili naman sa tanang panahon nga makabuhat ka og maayo kay para lang pud sa maayo nga tumong. So makabuhat ka og dili maayo para sa maayo nga tumong. So mao to Almerol.
So buot pa sa buot no nga ang altruistic is good siya kay makatabang ka sa others. Pero ug mamakak ka lagi po yung risk, mabutang ka sa risk, di ba? Kay, siyempre, pareha kay Dave, dili siya kabalog ayo og sakyanan. So, mabutang siya dito sa risk. Nisulod siya sa ato nga industry niya, dili siya kabalo mo himo og sakyanan, din gisabak din siya dito og ayo sa sakyanan. What if malalaan pa niya ang damage sa sakyanan? So, ingana ang... What?
Nagpa-pretend lang siya nga kay balo siya.
Oh yes. So ingana ang altruistic. So to end this discussion, will is the action and reason is behind everything. So there is a reason in everything. There is para like for example para maka-eskwela ka naay reason ang tanan. Gikan sa imo ang pag-study taman sa imong pagkahuman, imong will nga pag-study, imong will nga muskwela para makahuman makahuman. So this is a reason in everything. So that would be all in our report.
Save na. 38 minutes.
We'll be sending our questions to sa GC.
Save na. 38 minutes.
Then, sa ko na lang send.
I-save mo ulit isa. Hala. Mula lagi siya rin naman sa Bacarro. Kasi ba yung sir? Kanya ka mag-report? Kasi gaya mo sir?